So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna ask my model to predict the type of music a 21-year-old, okay, a 21-year-old who is a male will like, and then a 22-year-old who is a female will like. So before running this, let's basically go back to our data and see what we might expect first to make sure our predictions is correct. So going back to the Excel sheet, a 21-year-old will basically, more likely it will be hip hop, right? Because 20 to 25 is hip hop. So a 21 will fall under that category. And then a 22-year-old female will 20, 20, okay, that's gonna be done. So we are expecting hip hop and done, hip hop and done. So let's see if our model will get that right. So the next thing is just to call predictions and then run it using the shortcut control enter. And then here we got it correct. Stored it through a GitHub repository there where I just need to go and download it as a zip file and then extract it, upload it to my kernel. Yeah. Any other question? Okay, so I'll move on to the student front-end web dev course outline. So I'm basically gonna give lectures on front-end web development in particular. So what I did is I divided this into about seven categories. So the first category, the first section is basically gonna be introduction to web development and speaking about overview of web development, front-end versus back-end, and then setting up our dev environment, downloading VS Code, how to use the browser, inspect, use GitHub and stuff like that. And then the next one is just gonna go directly into HTML, more specifically HTML5, which is the most recent version of HTML. Hypertext markup language is the building block of any website we see here. And then on the HTML, we're gonna cover a variety of stuff, including HTML tags, elements, form, input, semantic HTML, and best practices for structuring HTML documents, because it is very important when it comes to SEO and stuff like that. So the next thing is CSS, cascading style sheets, more specifically also CSS3. So it's CSS is basically used to style a web page, all the button, all the styles, the colors, font styles, and stuff you see. Also, it's very important when it comes to responsive design. So on the CSS, we're gonna cover a variety of stuff, including CSS basics, selectors, styling text, flexbox, and grid, which is very, very important, especially in this era where we have a lot of different devices with different shapes that can access the internet and all kinds of websites that are hosted. And then we will talk about pre-processors such as SAS and LESS. So SAS is basically based on Ruby and LESS is based on JavaScript, but they are compatible with CSS files. So that's also going to be explained on the course. And then we move on to arguably one of the most popular programming languages in web dev, JavaScript. So we'll talk about JavaScript, introduction to JavaScript, variables, functions, and DOM, the document object module manipulation and event handling is very, very important. And then basic debugging and troubleshooting skills for JavaScript devs. And then we move on to advanced JavaScript, especially the ECMAScript specification, AS6, which was launched in 2015. And then we move on to working with arrays, promises, asyncs, awaits, modular JavaScript, JSON, JavaScript object notation, and how to deal with APIs in JavaScript.
So basically, you outline everything.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's done. So you're left with expanding some
Expanding, yeah.
categories.
Scale it up to the desktop version. And then we move on to the next one before wrapping up the security. So as we go ahead and launch our web development projects from our local computers to the cloud where they are hosted, how do we make sure that our websites are secure? And more commonly, which is the most common attacks on front end is phishing attacks. So this is basically something that I can just demonstrate for people that okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna remove this code, just give this random title. So what I'm basically gonna do here is gonna demonstrate. I'm gonna pretend that I'm going to Ali's portfolio, But in essence, I'll be going to my portfolio. So this is common in emails where you see like links, click to this, but it will lead you to something else. How those stuffs happen. So it's just a simple HTML tag called the anchor tag. All you basically need to do is just include a reference. So I will write, I'll use portfolio. Okay, apapa. Okay, visit. So this is visit Ali's portfolio. Okay, so in essence, in the hrefs, the hypertext reference, I'll just include this link there.